I finally found a way to have the users not ignore an outage email, by USERY6IRD. TL, DR, don't send an email, send a blind meeting invite instead. This post, it's all about communication, reminded me, thanks you/JacksMagicMan. We use Outlook where I am, so if you don't, details may vary, but the principle should work. This should also work for unplanned outages, I think, but for a recent planned outage, instead of an email to all affected people, I set up a meeting as follows. Importantly, even if they do nothing at all and even if the invite is filtered off to somewhere they don't look, the meeting with reminder pop-up will still appear in their calendar. Oh my god, the blessed silence during the outage was the best thing ever. Edit, a detail on allow new time proposals updated as per u/Blake95's comment. Edit 2, users can accept or decline, but either way you won't see it. Thanks you/Rianelk. Edit 3, as speculated, https://reddit.com/r/tales-from-tech-support/comments/1385d24/_gilvo/by-you/enter the bugbear and confirmed by you/noeperty, setting a category as the sender of the invitation does nothing on the recipient's side. She wanted the wireless electricity to work, by user complete anybody 5180. I work as tech support guy in an elementary school. One day I was asked by an older female teacher, probably about 55 plus, why the projector wasn't working and if I can come take a look. When I arrived and found that it wasn't even plugged in. When I asked where the plug was, she said she didn't have it. I said something like, "Oh, that's okay, I can probably get you a new plug but I need to find it. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. But she wasn't having any of it. She insisted that I make the projector work wirelessly, and wouldn't take no for an answer. I tried to explain to her that it simply wasn't possible because wireless electricity hasn't been invented yet, but she refused to listen. She then took out her phone and said, "If my phone can connect to the Wi-Fi wirelessly, why can't the projector?" I had to explain that Wi-Fi and electricity are different things, but she became angry and started threatening to report me to the principal. I tried to remain calm and explained the situation to her again, but she refused to listen and accused me of being incompetent. Eventually, I had to leave the classroom without solving her problem. It was a frustrating experience, but sometimes there's just no way to make things work the way people want them to. Later spoke to the principal and explained the situation to her, and luckily she understood that the teacher's request was unreasonable. So that's where failed print jobs go, by user Ferdo. This happened back in the early 1990s, when our office still had only a rudimentary LAN and the 386 was the best available computer. Instead of network printers we still had individual printers cabled directly to a user's desktop computer, and only users who constantly needed a computer had a printer, mostly secretaries. Also, I'm not knocking secretaries, just using the titles of the people involved. Our offices were laid out with a number of small shared offices, fronted by a large open area where the secretary desks were located. Due to furniture layout, a lot of people liked to take a shortcut through one secretary's space, but they had to shimmy between her printer, on a stand, and the wall. Doing so would often knock that cable off the printer, and it was also leaving a scuff mark on the wall. The secretary was very good at her job, and respected, but she had no aptitude for computer hardware. She would call us that her printer wasn't working, and we'd find that the cable was off. We showed her how to plug it back in, and she was fine with doing that. What she didn't understand was why she had to resend her print jobs after reconnecting the cable. She was used to mainframe computer systems with print queues, but her computer was standalone and was running DOS, so the system was not smart enough to realize that a print job had failed, and to automatically resend it. We tried to explain all of that, and just get her to resend her print jobs, but she was still puzzled. Where did those print jobs go? Then one of our techs told her that electricity flowed in that cable, and pointed to the scuff marks on the wall. Told her that the print job electricity came out of the end of the cable, and was hitting the wall, causing burn marks. She bought that explanation, and wondered if it was dangerous. He told her it probably was since it was burning the paint on the wall. After that, she was good about checking her printer cable and reconnecting it if it was loose. Probably better, she stopped allowing people to shimmy through that opening, to keep them from getting hurt, which meant the cable stayed on and we didn't have to keep coming back to reconnect it. I'm going to lose this contract if you don't let me use a very expensive software product for free on your servers even though I don't work there, by user Joa Donfan. The subject is basically the TL, DR, but here are the details. Many years ago I worked on the consumer help desk for a local reseller. We had a lot of local contracts, but also supported regular customers. One day my phone rang. Thanks for calling reseller tech support. My name is Joe Don Fan, how can I help you? The caller asked if we had a piece of software. As I recall, it would help port users of CTOS into DOS/Windows 3.1. I also remember the price, $1,750. Further, it was intended to be installed in a NetWare environment. As you might imagine, this was late in the last century, so the gist of the remaining conversation follows. Great. That's what I need. I asked him for a method of payment. I just need you to install it and let me use it. On our servers. Yes. And then we put it back on the shelf? You want us to do that for free? I need to port over the office of the Commandant of the Coast Guard * to DOS, and if I can't use this software I'm going to lose the contract and be sued. I'm sorry to hear that, sir, but we can't let non-employees on our system, and we sure can't open up a software package for you. You don't understand. I'll be sued for breach of contract if I can't do this. Who do you have to talk to make this happen? I put him on hold and talked to my manager, who looked at me like I had grown a second head before shaking his head. Sir? My boss says we're not going to do that. He couldn't take that for an answer and demanded he speak with someone else. I gave him my VP's name and number, then gave the VP a heads-up call right after hanging up. A few days later, that software package was still in our inventory. The office of the Commandant of the Coast Guard is important in helping me remember this story. A previous employer was a Convergent Technologies, CT, reseller and had sold a lot of CTAWS and NGEN systems to that office. It seems they were moving into the PC world and this guy's small minority-owned business won the contract to port that office into the wonderful world of DOS. I didn't get the name of his business, but I strongly suspect they no longer existed before the year was out. Being told I should work at the local tech store instead of the employee behind the desk, by user Daniel Yelwap. This one takes place about 6+ years ago, not long after I'd landed my first IT support role, but figured you guys would appreciate it anyway. While out on a visit to my local tech retailer to pick up a replacement part for a personal device that I owned at the time, I made my way into the store and darted over to the technical support desk area for collection. The queue was short, just myself and the middle-aged guy on front of me speaking to the employee behind the counter with his laptop out on the counter. I stood there for a few minutes, minding my own business headphones and not really paying attention to what they were doing. 10 minutes or so had passed and they were still chatting/working away on this guy's machine, so I figured while I'm here I'd go look around the store for a bit, kill a bit of time, then wander back over to the desk once they'd finished doing whatever they was doing. After completing a lap of the store, I rejoined the queue behind the same guy at the counter. After another short wait it was starting to become apparent that they had clearly been there for a while, so decided to pop one of my headphones out and listen to what was going on. Then after listening I chimed in, "Hi, sorry to interrupt, but what problem are you having?" The elderly gentleman responded with, "I bought this laptop a few days ago with a mouse, and I keep accidentally catching the trackpad / keeps interfering with the mouse and we can't figure a way to turn it off." To which I replied with, "Have you not tried the shortcut on the keyboard? You should be able to press Fn plus F7 or something like that and it will disable it." The tech behind the desk then looked at me, then back down at the keyboard on this gentleman's laptop and then pressed said key combination. Then within about 3 seconds the employee responds with, "Oh, that done it." The gentleman then turned and looked at me and said, "Oh, thank you, you've saved the day. We'd have been here all morning trying to figure that out. I think you should be working behind the desk instead." Which I simply responded with, "Oh, it's nothing, it's just one of little things you learn. I do this sort of thing in my job a lot." I looked over to the employee behind the desk. He seemed a bit embarrassed about the whole thing and I kind of felt bad for him at the time. Such a simple thing, but we've all been there. At least he'll never forget it.